I recently played a demo for the side-scrolling RPG horror roguelike Withering Rooms, made by Moonless Formless and published by Perp Games. Now, this game came out in 2022 and was one that I'd always sort of seen popping up here and there, or like it was suggested on Steam sales, or you'd see screenshots online. Some people, social media, talking about it being a bit of a, really fun horror thing. But I never really stopped to try it until recently. After playing the demo, I think it's one of those games that really encapsulates for me a new type of expression. So when you watch something that's so bad it's good? Well, Withering Rooms isn't bad, but it's got some jankiness to it, if you get what I mean. And as I played it, I went from sort of, not minding it to actually kind of liking it. So it's one of those games that I would say, I'd use the expression, if your fun isn't harmed, it just adds to the charm. And that is a gross oversimplification of the game, but it does capture how I felt at the end and how I still feel about it when I do play the demo again from time to time, and I'm going to buy the full game. I'm sure you all have had that experience where you've played a game that was maybe a bit scuffed, a bit kind of, but at the end you went away sort of saying, I had a good time first. You're not going, it's busted. You're like, I enjoyed it. Withering Rooms sees you play as a young girl trapped in a dream of a sprawling manor filled with ghouls, creatures, and unsightly monsters as you try to seek an escape by collecting items, defeating bosses and things. You use weapons, fight monsters, upgrade and explore a procedurally generated map. Think of your, Metroid's Hollow Knight 2.5 game, moving around spaces, exploring the map, and solving things, sort of plotting your course. It's all sounding pretty standard, but when I started, I'm a bit of a sucker for survival horror and horror in general, so I thought, give it a shot, let's go. Quickly you're dropped into the world with maps, rooms, looting items, and hiding. So after your brief tutorial period, I thought, okay, cool, all right, weapons, some fun enemies, that's cool. Then I'm getting spells and items with different effects, items that heal, but also items that damage at ranged, one-use items, with varying effects like poison or bleed. So it's building upon. I'm going, okay, cool, yeah. Still standard, I've seen this, but that's cool, something I can work with that. And then as you explore further, you're finding interesting characters, different locations, and the more that I'm getting into plotting my course and trying to find items, then the more I'm understanding about curses and special rings that have really specific bonuses that I enjoy. It's not so much, 5% increase to HP. It's things like rings that greatly enhance attacks from behind. So I'm going, okay, I've got a kind of build forming here. I've got this axe with bleed. I've got this ring that increases attacks from behind. I'm a bit of a glass cannon, but, I can roll behind people and hit them in the back and kill them. And most of the time I'm avoiding fighting anyway, so that works really well. And then there's items that lure enemies, it's built in. You can hide and get the jump on people. You can throw something and make a noise. You can leave something behind that makes a noise. You're also getting spells that can enchant doorways that damage anyone that come through them. You're sort of setting up traps. And I'm doing these moves and getting introduced to these things and thinking, okay, yeah, all right, so this is kind of the build that I've got going. And I was enjoying combat. And I was also enjoying avoiding combat because I had all these options. And death. When you die, you respawn. Very much, make these comparisons to Dark Souls, as I feel like almost every game does. But respawn, come back. But you lose all your items. Any permanent upgrades you've had, you get them. Which includes unlocking, memorizing items. So you have a finite amount of things you can memorize depending on what you've got or that kind of thing. So you can wake up with, say, your, blood axe when you die and come back. The map changes, items move, enemies might shift and alter, but you start again with these things that you've managed to memorize. So you kind of build on that. So it was at this point that I realized, because I hadn't realized how long I was playing this demo, that I really liked this game, and I got what everyone was talking about in the positive reviews, That is to say, the dodge roll is a bit wonky. You move in an animated fashion that is admittedly maybe a bit stiff. Some enemies kind of have body movements or shapes that are hard to kind of predict for a game with dodging in it, like this slug guy who kind of lunges at a distance that isn't like, oh, you got me, all right, I'll be careful of that, and more like, whoa, okay, whoa, there was like a lot of the room. There are some rough edges, but it's charming. If it meets the fair expectations of, I expect you to be a game that I'm going to enjoy, and that's the hope that the game's got, then, hey. Withering Rooms, it's got some jank, but it doesn't break. In one of those ways where the story is sometimes a bit confusing, but there's some fun characters, and, I found a guy in a cage with a dog, and I'm like, I'm going to free this man. I'd completely forgotten about what the main story was, but by God, I was going to free this guy to figure out what the hell's going on there. And then, just got kind of lost in how the game works. Sorry, my cat's here. So, I'd say Withering Rooms, great stuff. Check it out. I know that this is a bit of a short video, but I just wanted to sort of give a shout out to one of the spooky games that I played sort of for Halloween. If you guys had any Halloween darlings this year that you really liked or that you enjoyed, let me know, because I'd love to do them. I'd love to do a few more little reviews of like demos and also full games. But yeah, so let me know any of your fave horror recommendations, not just for the spoops, just more like, ones that you had a really good time. And I'll see you around.